What's going on, everyone? James Livingston here, back again, giving you guys a breakdown on the market here, like I've been doing the last couple of days with SPY, QQQ, and IWM, as well as a couple of tech stocks, just to give you guys a couple of different perspectives, different levels, etc. So first and foremost, we're going to start off here with SPY. So obviously, like we've been talking about, SPY has just been pushing, and we finally got something that's showing us possibly some early signs of reversal here. So we see this candle here, this close on the daily, we get less volume, and we get an indecisive candle here after it looks like a break to a new high. So get rid of this here. You can see price action did break up. We got as high as 560.80, so just about 561. Looks like we might have tried to top out essentially at this wick over here. Got a hair above it, and we are starting to see a little bit of rejection. Nothing crazy right now. We do need to see how today opens. As you can see up in the right corner here, pre-market 559.60. So we are actually green up $1 almost right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. We're basically at just above the open of yesterday's candle. So as of right now, seeing some early signs of potentially a reversal. Again, like we noted yesterday, we do have this gap here that we are starting to push up into, but we'll see if we get the rejection first, push back down towards maybe even this gap. Who knows? We are pretty up high in the 550s, so I don't anticipate that we'll drop below 550 here today. I would think that if that is going to happen, it's probably going to happen closer to the end of the week here. So looking at this for levels, I'm going to go in on the 30-minute time frame here, just to give you guys a couple of levels to look for. So as of right now, it looks like the upside level, I would use this peak here from midday, or just about the end of the day there, like 2:30. See, we peaked out there at about 559.74. So just about 560. Makes sense that at that psychological level, we would kind of find ourselves a resistance now. If we can break above that, I think that we've got a good shot at going back towards that 560.84 high up there, and then filling that gap again, probably up towards about 562, 562.5. That's my plan as far as upside. For downside, I am looking at, I want to say it's right here about 558.30 that can give us the initial kind of knowledge that we are going to push down. If you want to be safe about it, I would say wait until we see the full breakdown of about 557.85-ish. Essentially using that low of day right there in the beginning. We pushed up, we came back down, we wicked off that level twice. We also had a small resistance of that level on Monday. So a couple there. If we do lose that, I think we can get a pretty large pushback, probably down to this little pocket at 556, maybe even as low as the 554s, 553s. So there's plenty of potential both upside and downside right now on SPY. It just depends on which push we get. I'm leaning towards a little more upside before we see the full rejection, but we are at a spot now where we have some indecisiveness. There's a chance that we could pull back, but on the lower time frames, we're still looking pretty solid. So moving over here to QQQ, get rid of some of these drawings. Same thing, similar look that we're getting right now. We found a resistance here at about 482.74. I know that I think in yesterday's video I mentioned this top over here about 484. I still believe that we can touch that area before heading back down. I think that it's more likely that we at least top out right there before making that move to retrace a little bit. So I'm watching that 484, looks like 484.30. Watching that level. Again, I'm basing that off of this wick over here. So I guess actually it would be more 484.43 was the high of this candle from back on July 23rd. So again, just some early signs of possible pullback. I am going to look here again on this 30-minute time frame and just kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm seeing here. So we have, again, that kind of intraday push up like we had on SPY there. This one's at 481.56, so 481.60 just about. Break that, I think we can get that nice over $1 push up to about 483, and then so on to probably 484 at that point, if not higher. Downside wise, looking at similar level here on with SPY, which was kind of this bottoming out in the after hours. I'm actually going to move this one. I wouldn't take this short, honestly, until we start to see 479.30 break down. Again, I see, you have the bottom wicks that go a little bit lower down towards about 478.60, but I do believe that 479.30 is going to hold a little bit more weight and give us the break a little bit earlier, give us an earlier entry into it as well. So that would be my downside break level. And then from there, I mean, we can really go as far down, in my opinion, as 476.90, if not even lower, down towards... Let's see here. Looks like we could potentially even see as low as 474s. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking at there. Make this one orange. So the two orange levels there are going to signify, our immediate break levels, up or down, and then you have the levels above and the levels below. So QQQ overall, like I said, just looking a little indecisive right now with that kind of a close that we had, similar to SPY. Now IWM did push up a little bit. I think we talked about it yesterday. So we talked about Tuesday that Monday pushed up pretty heavily. Tuesday, on the other hand, did form us a nice bearish engulfing candle. So I am looking for, on IWM, I am looking for a little bit more downside. I know we didn't quite fill this gap, but as I've been preaching about, most of the time these gaps don't get 100% filled. Like, they'll get like 75% filled, and then market makers will push back on it because they know everyone's expecting this to get filled all the way. Now, one thing I will note is if we look in here on the 15-minute time frame, the 30-minute time frame, whichever, we can see the price action is already starting to retrace back up. Now, we're not sure if this is just a retracement, as if you put it from the top to the bottom of this move here, we are right in that little golden zone pocket. So that 61%, that 50 to 61% pocket there, we could call that the golden zone. That's the most ideal area for sellers on a retracement after a big move down to get into an entry for a short side. And same thing if you're looking at upside, then a nice pullback to the golden zone for the buyers. So in this case, the sellers do have an opportunity here to capitalize on this area here at specifically 214, which was a pretty hefty resistance for quite a minute. We wicked out there, and then we had a little bit of a hesitation to break that on Monday's price action. So 214 could definitely hold some weight here on this one. And I do believe there's a good chance that we do continue down. Now let me get rid of some of my drawings here because I don't want to just confuse you guys. But like I said, had the nice push up. We've just about filled the gap. Like, the gap only had really 30 cents left to it, to be honest. So I think we've just about filled that gap, and if we do a retracement off this top here to this bottom, you can see again, even on the overall larger time frame right now, we are again right in that golden zone pocket. You see that 50%, 61% from the top here to the very bottom. The retracement is now in that golden zone, so I think it's more than likely high. Oh my gosh, I can't even speak. It's a highly likelihood that this is going to pull back here at least to the 20 EMA on the daily. So 30-minute wise, like I said, looking at levels just strictly, I would say at this point, in order to see some upside, I'd really like to see this 214.50. 214 obviously would be the crucial level to get back above, but I think that 214.50 would really confirm that, breaking above this higher wick on this breakdown candle, and signifying that we can actually move up higher and higher. Downside wise, pretty simple for this one, in my opinion. I think you just really need to see the breakdown of that little gap up this morning. So 213.30, I think if we break down beneath that, 213 has held as a support pretty well, but I do believe that we're starting to lose the strength of that area, and we could see that push back down, most likely at least to this 30-minute 200 EMA, wherever it swoops down. So it might not be a huge move, but we could get at least maybe $1.50 move out of this. Now let's look at a couple of stocks here. I'm going to go over NVIDIA, because NVIDIA, at the end of the day, as long as NVIDIA is pushing up, I think the overall market is going to follow along with it. It tends to kind of follow with it since NVIDIA is a part of the SPY ETF, the QQQ ETF. So holds a little bit of weight. I do like the way that NVIDIA pushed up on Monday, and then this candle here, it didn't really make a new high and it didn't make a new low. It kind of traded within. We call these inside candles. So for me, inside candles essentially represent, consolidation, especially when they don't make a new high wick or a low wick. When they stay within the prior day's candle or the prior time frame candle, I really like these ones for possible continuation. Right over here is a good example of an inside candle. You can see we had the push down, we had the inside candle showing consolidation after a push down, and then we had the continuation off of that candle. That's a similar thing that I'm expecting NVIDIA to do over here. I think that we can get the inside candle here, and as long as we can break the upper wick of it, the high of day there yesterday, I think we can get that push to the upside. But the same thing goes for the downside. If we push that lower wick, there's a good chance that we're going to break down to the downside. So it just depends, honestly, on which we break, the high of day yesterday or the low of day yesterday. As far as on the 30-minute, looking for some levels to trade here. At this point, I would really just be waiting for NVIDIA to take back 128.40. You can see we peaked out there just about twice yesterday. I would like to see that level break. I think that can give us room, give us a way up to 129.50, if not 130. So give us a couple pushes there, and then we have that little micro level up there about 130.82. Downside, we're at a pretty pivotal spot. Like I said, if we break down that low of day from yesterday, I think that's going to signify the push to the downside. So 125.87 or 125.85, 125.65. Can you guys tell I've only had one cup of coffee this morning? Because I need my second one ASAP. But it looks like that low of day there was actually at 127. I'm not looking at this correctly. It was 125.89. I was right the whole time. 125.89, breakdown of that, get that push back down to most likely this prior resistance right here. So 124.50, give us a nice $1.50 move. But really, once we break this, especially on the 30-minute, there's a pretty good chance that we're going to just go to wherever this 200 EMA lies. But obviously, marking out our levels is going to help us catch some spots too, where we could potentially see some hang up. So that's NVIDIA. Overall, like I said, I still think it's pretty bullish. I'm still looking at it as very bullish. Another stock here I want to go over real quick is I actually want to go over Amazon, because I feel like I've been going over NVIDIA, Tesla, AMD. Let's go over Amazon here today, because this one actually kind of shocked me. The other day I watched Flow, options Flow a lot, and I saw this absolute dump that it had. I think it was actually Monday. Had millions and millions of puts being bought. And a bunch of millions of calls being sold off as well, which is typically pretty bearish because they're essentially larger whales writing those calls, trying to trap the buyers into thinking it's going to go higher, when realistically it's getting ready to make a move down. But the one thing that happened here that's pretty interesting is, we kind of almost had this pattern play out. So as of right now, we have this kind of almost upward trend on the top side, and then we had this low here that kept on getting touched right here, and it's just pinching, and then next thing you know, now we're pushing above it. So we're already at that 180 level. In pre-market here, we're at 180 again. I do think that we're going to continue pushing. I don't know that we're necessarily going to push right away, but we will see that pullback eventually, in my opinion, to this 179 area. So if we see that 179 pullback, I wouldn't fear it too much. I would only start to fear if we break below this low at 178.40. But just some overall insight there. It looks like this thing is coiling for a bigger move as of right now. So we do have this gap that we're still currently filling right now. We're in this gap. We did create another small gap just like on SPY. So we have that downside area to keep an eye on. But as of right now, we are pushing up towards what looks to be that 60 EMA at about 180.50. Now we are in pre-market again at 180.07, so we're closing in on that area already. So what you need to be careful of here is what market makers tend to do is they'll push it up right in the morning to the resistance level, which in this case is like 180.54, right around that 60 EMA on the daily. They'll push it up to that level right away or just above it, and then they'll slap it back down and basically give you that true rejection where they can form, you know, a pretty fat shooting star type of candle. So there is potential that this thing could run up in the morning right away and then get rejected almost immediately. So just keep that in the back of your mind. But as of right now, this kind of a pattern is a breakout candle pattern. So I do expect this to at least get a little push. It's just we're in an area that's kind of tough to trade, because if it goes up to the 60 EMA and we start to get the rejection, because not only are we going to hit the 60 EMA, but we're also going to fill this prior gap that we're in completely. So at that point, you know, what does price action really need? You know, what is price action going towards? What's its goal? And in this case, I wouldn't know, honestly. I would think that it's going to just reject it. Obviously, it can keep running. It can keep going up as much as it wants. I mean, realistically, the full gap fill would be up towards about 183.90, 184-ish. You know, basically the close of this candle before the gap down. So realistically, we could push up as high as there before we see any kind of hesitation. But we are in a very weird spot right here. I don't like when I have patterns forming right underneath of EMAs, because if the volume isn't correct, if the volume isn't fluid, you can definitely see rejections. So levels wise to watch out for, obviously, like I said, we are pushing up already. The first level to get above would be that 60 EMA on the daily, which is 180.54. As far as for downside, you know, we can initially see some pullback at about 179.60. 179.60 could pull us back to essentially this kind of resistance we had here at 170, just about 179 flat. And then, like I said, once we start to push down below about 170, 178.30, 178.40, I think we're going to start to lose that push-up steam that we had and start to reverse to the downside. So hopefully that all made sense. I know that was a lot. I've been looking at Amazon the last couple of days. Its price action has been interesting, to say the least. The flow has been kind of opposite of what I'm seeing on the charts. So I'm like, is there something big coming, or was that just a scalp on that day for those puts and those call writings? Who knows? But that's pretty much it, guys. I just want to go over a couple of stocks for you guys. Obviously, the main ones: SPY, QQQ, IWM, and then touch on a couple of ones: NVIDIA, Amazon. Give you guys some levels there. So hopefully this did help you guys out. If it did, please leave a like. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know if you have any of your thoughts at all. What you guys are thinking about certain stocks. I like to hear anyone's opinions. Gives me better insight into the market as a whole. And obviously, if you're new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys in the next video.